Let's be real, the crypto market can feel like you're walking through a minefield, right? But what if you had a blueprint to help navigate it? Well, today, we're going to dig into a potential strategy for the altcoin space, looking all the way ahead to 2026. First things first, we have to start with a pretty harsh reality check. This number, 90%, that's roughly how many altcoins out there are mostly just hype. They don't have any real substance. They pop up, they get a ton of buzz, and then poof, they're gone. So, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How in the world do you find the winners? If most of these projects are basically destined to fail, then the whole game is about spotting that tiny little fraction that has real, lasting potential. And that is exactly what we're here to break down.
Okay, so before we get to the exciting part, the contenders, we really need to understand the battlefield. Let's take a look at why so many of these projects are, well, pretty much doomed from the very start.
This right here, this is the perfect storm that just sinks most altcoins. It's never just one thing. You could have a brilliant idea, but with a weak team, a team that's anonymous or lacks the right tech skills, it's just not gonna fly. Or you could have a great team, but if they aren't solving a real-world problem, what's the point? Now throw in the crazy market swings, regulators breathing down their necks, and the sheer dominance of giants like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can see how easy it is for even promising projects to get totally crushed.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In a market this wild, if you're just speculating without looking at the solid fundamentals, you're not investing, you're gambling. You're basically playing with fire, and the stakes are incredibly high.
All right, enough of the doom and gloom. Now for the main event. We've seen why most projects crash and burn. So let's dive into 3 that, according to our analysis, actually have the fundamentals to be serious contenders come 2026.
First up, we've got Solana. A lot of you probably know this one, but its positioning for the next few years is what's really interesting here. It's all about one thing: speed.
So, why Solana? Simple. It's built for performance. We are talking thousands of transactions a second, and you don't have to pay those crippling fees you see on other networks. This makes it an absolute magnet for developers building dApps. Things like decentralized trading platforms or games, and for the big institutional players who need that kind of efficiency. That combination of high performance and growing adoption is exactly what's fueling that projection of a potential 5x growth from here.
Next on our list is XRP. Now this one has a totally different angle. It's not about dApps, it's targeting the massive, traditional world of global finance.
For years, XRP was kind of stuck in limbo because of regulatory uncertainty, especially in the US. But now that fog is finally starting to clear, the runway is open for a global expansion. Its whole mission is simple: make sending money across borders way faster and way cheaper. We're talking everything from someone sending money home to their family to huge corporate settlements. If it can grab even a tiny piece of that multi-trillion-dollar market, those price targets you see suddenly look very, very interesting.
And our final contender is Chainlink. Now, if Solana is the super fast highway and XRP is the new kind of bank, then think of Chainlink as the essential plumbing that makes everything else work.
Chainlink solves a huge problem that most people don't even think about. Blockchains, by themselves, are cut off from the real world. They can't get real-world data on their own. They need a secure bridge, an oracle, to feed them information like stock prices, sports scores, or weather data. As things like DeFi, that's decentralized finance, and Web3 become more and more a part of our lives, the need for this service is just going to explode. It's not the flashiest coin, but it's absolutely essential infrastructure, and that is what's behind its massive growth potential.
Okay, so we've got our contenders. But look, picking the right horse is only half the race. Knowing how to actually ride the market is what separates the people who succeed from the ones who get wiped out.
Think of these as your survival kit. Rule number 1 is the golden rule. Don't bet the farm. Seriously, only put in money you are 100% prepared to lose. Number 2 is about not putting all your eggs in one basket. Diversify, and it's probably a good idea to hold some Bitcoin too. Rule 3 is the hardest for most people. Be patient. This market is a roller coaster. Panic selling during dips is your absolute worst enemy. And finally, number 4, be smart. Use the tools you have, like stop-loss orders, to protect yourself.
So, let's bring this all home. Let's wrap this all up into one clear, final takeaway from this whole analysis.
So here it is, the blueprint in a nutshell. 3 very different projects, but each one has a strong, fundamental reason to exist. You've got the high-speed powerhouse, Solana, the global payments disruptor, XRP, and the indispensable data oracle, Chainlink.
And that brings us to the final question for you. We've laid out the blueprint, but of course the future is never set in stone. Based on what we've talked about and everything else you're seeing out there,
Which project do you think has the best shot at dominating this next cycle? I'm really curious to see what you think.